Është esenciale të rifillohet dialogu mes Kosovës dhe Serbisë si një rrugë para për përparimin e të dyja vendeve. Ndërsa udhëheqja e politikës së jashtme të një shteti duhet të ketë pikënisje gjithmonë Kushtetutën e vendit e Kushtetuta e Kosovës, thotë se presidenti është udhëheqësi i politikës së jashtme. Kështu thot ambasadori norvegjis në Kosovë, Strand Sjaastad, në një intervistë për Kosova Press, në të cilën ai ka folur për situatën politike në Kosovë, përfshirë dialogun me Serbinë për normalizimin e marrëdhënieve, themelimin e Asociacionit të komuna me shumicë serbe, transformimin e mandatit të forcës së sigurisë së Kosovës, si dhe liberalizimin e shumëpritur të vizave.
The Constitution says that the President shall lead the foreign policy. The Constitution says that the government shall propose and implement foreign policy, and the Assembly should have an oversight function and approve treaties. This is a good starting point, and I think in addition to then looking to what the Constitution says, it is important that everybody tries to understand that there needs to be built a common platform and a broad consensus as possible in order for these negotiations to succeed. Not the least because otherwise it will be also very difficult for Kosovo to implement any agreements reached. So I'm hopeful that the dialogue will be restarted sometime soon. And when it comes to the results to be achieved, it will be up to the Kosovo authorities to decide what will be their substantial platform and their demands. I think these negotiations will be hard and difficult for both sides. And I think also that both sides have to be prepared to find a compromise. Otherwise, it will be difficult to have a binding final agreement. It is also crucial to understand that this is, in my view, a win-win situation for both countries. When you do reach a final agreement, a binding agreement, a comprehensive agreement, this will speed up the integration of both countries into Euro-Atlantic structures. For Kosovo, it will mean that you will be closer to the EU, you will be closer to NATO, and you will be closer to United Nations. It remains to be seen how long time it will take Kosovo to join these three organizations. That will not happen overnight, not even after a final agreement with Serbia, but at least it will be a very important step in the right direction.
Sipas tij, palët në dialog duhet të shmangin llojin e sjelljes që është provokuese dhe se kjo përgjegjësi i takon Beogradit dhe Kosovës, nga së ndryshe, shansat për arritjen e marrëveshjes finale do të jenë më të vogla se që mund të kishin qenë më parë.
I wouldn't necessarily say that. It's very difficult to label and say if there's any difference in the approach between Serbia and Kosovo. I think it's more constructive to encourage both parties to create a favorable atmosphere, a favorable climate. And I think it's fair to say that both countries in the past have, from time to time, had actions which is not very helpful for creating such a climate. But I'm not prepared to single out neither Kosovo or Serbia and saying that one of the two countries have more responsibility.
Tutje, ai ka folur edhe për transformimin e mandatit të FSK-s në ato shtarak, diçka që sipas tij do të ndodhë, por vështirë se mund të flitet tash për një datë se kur.
Let me first say that Norway has for many years supported KFOR and the President of KFOR in Kosovo. When it comes to the transformation of KSF, the Kosovo Security Forces, that will happen sometime in the future. It's very difficult to set any specific dates for this. As has been clearly stated by our NATO partners and the US for a long time, we believe that the best way of doing this is to get change of the Constitution. which means that the non-majority communities and the Serb community will have to be on board and approve it. Whether that is realistic to achieve or not is not for me to say. It seems to be having some difficulties for the moment. It may be hard, but we think this would be by far the best approach. I think also at the same time it's important to understand that this transformation is a complex process. Nothing prevents Kosovo from improving and strengthening its security forces within the present mandate. Things can be done, things can be improved, and I think that Kosovo has the opportunity to improve its forces and to upgrade its standards within the present mandate to some extent. But it's true, in order to establish this as a full-fledged army, like the Kosovo Armed Forces, will mean that the law has to be changed first. And as I said, that should, in my view, preferably happen through constitutional change.
I pyetur rreth Asociacionit të komuna me shumicë serbe dhe detyrimin që Kosova ka për të themeluar dhe funksionalizuar atë. Ambasadori norvegjes ka theksuar se një shkallë decentralizimit të kompetencave është e natyrshme në çdo vend dhe veçanërisht në ato vende ku ka komunitet i shumicë.
When it comes to the Association of Serb majority municipalities, let me first say that some degree of decentralization of powers or competences is natural in any country, and maybe especially if there's non-majority communities. And this was also the background for the agreement on the Association on Serb majority communities. Now we just had to wait and see what happens. The management committee, as far as I've been informed, has forwarded a draft statute for the association, and according to the media, this statute has been assessed by the government as being not compatible with the ruling of the Constitutional Court. I really hope that this question is possible to solve. I know this was an important topic for the Serb side in the Brussels talks some years ago. And I also believe that this will be possible to get in place sometime down the road, hopefully sooner than later. Of course, there will always be discussions on the details of this association, and I think it's legitimate that this is done in a way which does not undermine the functionality of the Kosovo state, and which means that it has to be carefully looked into by experts, by lawyers, and by others to make this functional association within the Kosovo structures. So there's still hard work that has to be done to get this association in place. I think it will serve an important purpose in Kosovo, and hopefully it will be part of reality within in the near future.
Duke folur ndërkaq rreth çështjes së liberalizimit të vizave për Kosovën dhe datën e mençme kur do të mund të ndodhë kjo, ambasadori tha se nuk është i sigurt për afatin kohor dhe nuk mendon se është kohë e mirë që të flitet për datë, por të punohet për përmbushjet e kritereve.
Let me first say that this is for the EU member states to decide. Norway is not a member of the EU. Yeah. We are a member of a Schengen, which means that if the Schengen countries, the ones that are also part of the EU, which have the voting rights in Schengen, decide to grant visa liberalization to Kosovo, Norway will automatically do the same. But when this will happen is difficult for me to say, and it's not for me to have a position, or for Norway to have a position on this. It will benefit Kosovo to get it, I'm sure. But at the same time, I feel that there are many other issues that are equally important or more important regarding the rule of law. regarding boosting the economy, regarding upgrading the education system, regarding the energy situation, the dialogue with Serbia, which we already spoke about. So I would say that, of course, visa liberalization would be welcome, but it will not be something that will be a game changer in my view. Well, that's my personal view. I think that Kosovo has done a lot of work to prepare itself for visa liberalization. The demarcation agreement with Montenegro has been approved. And now the last criteria is concerning the anti-corruption and organized crime. It's up for the Commission to conclude on this and the member states. But in my view, I think that Kosovo has made significant progress in these areas, which is very important for the whole of Europe. And I think it's quite legitimate for the EU member states to set some criteria regarding anti-corruption and organized crime. Of course, we don't want these problems to increase when lifting the visa restrictions.
I pyetur rreth efektit që dhomat e specializuara të Kosovës në Hag do të kenë në politikën e Kosovës. Ambasadori norvegjez ka thënë se gjykata speciale nuk ka vënë në dyshim legitimitetin që shqiptarët kanë luftuar për liri deri në fund të viteve të 90-ta, por po ashtu më tonë të ndjek penalisht krimet e luftës që nuk justifikohen.
Not for me to say if they're prepared to handle the special court processes, but I hope they are. I mean, one has to keep in mind that the special court does not question the legitimacy and the justifiable Albanian struggle in the late 90s and the war in 1999 at all. Its mandate is only to prosecute war crimes, and everybody has to keep in mind that a war doesn't justify to randomly killing people. There are certain rules that has to be followed when conducting a war. But I think that Kosovo, I mean, we welcome when the Kosovo Assembly and the government approved the special court some years back. This initiative to abolish the special court was not very helpful. I'm very happy that this initiative has now been terminated. And I'm confident that Kosovo authorities will follow up their responsibilities when it comes to implementing the mandate of the special court. And hopefully we'll soon see some more activities